Hey everybody, Cherie Warwick here from blackblockchainconsultants.com. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. You know at BBC, what we do is we are here to educate 1 million Black people on blockchain so that you can get a blockchain job, start a blockchain business, invest either time or money into prosperous blockchain projects, and ultimately get your piece of the $3.1 trillion industry that is coming. So, you know what we always focus on here is not only the technology of blockchain, but how you can use it to make money. I came across this article, and it's what I've been saying continuously, and more information is coming out that is substantiating my theory that I started having last year. So this is from BREAKERMAG. It's by Jessica Klein. Corporate America wants the Amazon version of blockchain, says Gartner. So we're going to find out who Gartner is. So it's saying here, whoops, we're going to go too far. Businesses aren't taking advantage of blockchain's disruptive potential. Instead, they're embracing the perhaps most mundane realization of the technology, according to Gartner VP and analyst Aviva Litan. So, according to the notes for a new research project called Assessing the Optimal Blockchain Technology for Your Use Case, Gartner's publishing this in about 2 weeks. They are saying that 40% of the projects currently using permission blockchains will not end up taking advantage of blockchain's unique aspects like decentralization and tokenization by 2021. I've been calling this. I've been saying that corporations who are going to spend money on blockchain are not going to accept decentralization. And because they don't need decentralization, they don't need tokenization. Now, that doesn't mean that decentralization and tokenization don't have its place. It does in other use cases. However, the big money that's coming in from Fortune 1000 companies, mid-sized companies, small companies are not, for the most part, not going to come through decentralized assets. They're going to come through permissioned blockchains. They're also saying here, furthermore, projects now expected to use permissioned blockchains by 2021 will instead opt for centralized ledger alternatives like Amazon Web Services Quantum Ledger Database. Of course, you know, there are several blockchain platforms, of which we'll be studying those in the spring, beginning in March and going through about June. We have a lot of demos coming of different blockchain platforms that will for the most part, be permissioned blockchain platforms. So you definitely want to tune into that. All right, let's continue on with the article here. Though it's still in preview mode and only has a couple of customers, QLDB, which is the Amazon Web Service, sees how most are using blockchain technology and what they want out of an immutable audit trail. That's where business is going on blockchain. Over 60% of use cases are just using the immutable data audit trail. Amazon already used QLDB internally. Like a blockchain, the product offers cryptographically verifiable data trails, but is controlled by a central party, which is AWS, which makes it easier to scale and potentially easier to hack. At Gartner, the belief is that technology like AWS QLDB will take at least 20% of the distributed ledger technology use cases away from other vendors. But it's not only Amazon that has potential to get in on the distributed ledger game. Litan notes that other tech giants like Google could develop a similar hold over the DLT market. Microsoft is getting in, Oracle is getting in, Facebook is getting in, so all the big tech giants are getting into this. It's not in the spirit of blockchain, she says, pointing to its centralization. But what we're finding out is the spirit of blockchain is not taking hold as much as this immutable data audit trail. What does this sentence mean? This sentence means for corporations For corporations, the major selling point is going to be the immutability of blockchain. That's it. So when you're doing your presentations, when you're pitching companies, when you're writing your website, this is what you want to focus on. So let's continue reading. This is largely because business executives just don't get blockchain. I'm going to come back to that. Gartner receives a lot of phone calls from people who only want a basic understanding of the technology. Litan could not disclose the volume, but blockchain is always in Gartner's top 5 portal search terms. CEOs will have seen articles about blockchain or heard that their competitors are using it, so they'll call Gartner and ask, just tell me how it works and how I can use it. Yeah, because executives are busy. They want to get to the point. Ultimately, enterprises tend not to want to rely on blockchain's trust-free use cases, finds Gartner. So those enterprises end up instead using permission blockchains that come with all kinds of rules for users. Meanwhile, they're not taking advantage of smart contracts and tokenization. All they really want out of the ledger is the immutable data. Centralized services like AWS QLDB, which is Amazon, offer this too, along with more scalability and less need for technical understanding of blockchain technology, an understanding many executives clearly don't have yet. So let's break down this final paragraph here. Okay, so first thing thinking about this is that enterprises don't want to rely on blockchain's trust-free use cases. Well, that's because they haven't been proven enough yet for them. And enterprises, big companies, are just not naturally going to use the permissionless blockchains. Just not going to. That's not in their nature. There are other companies that will be built on this permissionless blockchain or the DApps, but not enterprises. So I'm not surprised by this at all. So these enterprises end up coming up with a whole bunch of rules for their users, of course, because they're enterprises. That's how it works. Meanwhile, they are not taking advantage of smart contracts and tokenization. Okay, let's come back to this. I think eventually they're going to start taking advantage of smart contracts. I do. I think the smart contracts just have to be programmed a lot more easily for the large enterprises to take advantage of them. So something happens and boom, something else happens. Why? Because that's going to cut down on middlemen within their organization. So it wouldn't surprise me if the smart contracts piece ends up being used by enterprises. However, the tokenization, it depends again on the company and what the tokenization is used for. However, most enterprises like fiat currency, so it wouldn't surprise me if they don't have the tokenization. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they only have the smart contracts. They don't need this tokenizations for permissioned blockchains. So, yeah. So all they really want out of the ledger right now is the immutable data. As a business person, I will tell you, if you're trying to sell other things to people that don't want them, if you're trying to sell the smart contracts and the tokenization and the decentralization and all of this stuff to a company that only wants the immutable data, you're doing a losing game here. So, yeah, so centralized services like QLDB offer this along with more scalability and less need for technical understanding of blockchain. This is also another key because scalability right now is an issue with the DApps. And enterprises have to have a scalable solution. Now, over time, the DApps are going to rectify the scalability issue. But again, this sentence makes absolute sense to us. And They're also looking for blockchains that have less of a need for technical understanding of blockchain technology. Why? Because the people that are going to be running these databases and putting information into these databases are not blockchain cryptographers. They are regular people that's going to be using the blockchain. So nothing in this article surprised me. Ultimately, Litan says inquiring enterprises can't think of use cases that really need blockchain. This is going to be education. However, we cannot sell any of these enterprises on solutions that just don't work for them. And this is something I want us to be mindful of as we are creating Blockchain Consortium International. Big props to Eric Spence and Talisha Shine that's been working behind the scenes on this, on helping us create our division that is going to focus on small and mid-sized businesses that want blockchain solutions. This is going to be the key. This is going to be the key. And we're going to have a lot of education that we are offering to people. We have within Black Blockchain Consultants, you have the ability to be one of our teachers and do anything from our one-day blockchain boot camps to our bigger classes that we have forthcoming. So just want to give you this piece of information here. This is a great article, and it lets us know that we are on the right track with blockchain. So stay tuned, and thank you so much. If you want to join Black Blockchain Consultants, we'd love to have you. We have a ton of member benefits, and you get all sorts of courses that you can take, more information that you can know so that you can either get a blockchain job or build a blockchain business, because we are here to help you build your blockchain wealth. That's it for me. God bless you. Have a great day.